think there are three main components of an effective FCPA compliance program. It's prevention, detection, and response. And within those, you sort of have subcomponents, but those are the three legs on the stool. So for prevention, you start, as is common for all compliance areas, with tone at the top. The board and the CEO, senior management, needs to set the tone for the company and sort of establish the basis for how the company does business, not just with regard to anti-corruption issues, but with regard to everyday life. So that's where it starts. The other piece of prevention is obviously having policies and procedures in place that address the specific issues for that company. And I think that's one of the most important pieces of FCPA compliance, is making sure that it's actually tailored to your risk profile, which differs not just by industry, not just by company, but within divisions of companies. There are different risk profiles. Training then to sort of carry forward the message from the top and to explain those policies and procedures. Those are sort of the three main components of the prevention component. Then you move on to detection. So that would include anything from continuous auditing, to where you're gathering data about what's happening in your business, to formal detection programs such as internal audit. I think today you have to have an FCPA specific component to that function. And then the third piece is response. When you find a problem, how do you react to it? Who's involved? How quickly can you get on top of it? Do you have policies and procedures around that part of your business, so that if an issue arises, you can address it, figure out what went wrong, and remediate? I think the most common failure is to stop at prevention. And companies, either because companies believe that the FCPA is fundamentally an ethics law, or because they believe that once they put in the tone at the top and the policies and procedures, everyone will follow it, which are sort of two related concepts. And I think what companies that start to really invest in FCPA compliance begin to understand is that ethics isn't enough. Particularly today, the statute has become much more complex. Expectations at the SEC and the Department of Justice have risen. And so I think the way I think about it is you need to have reinforced integrity. So you set the tone at the top with your ethical construct, and then you sort of put in what I would think of as rebar from the construction industry in terms of going out and checking that people are actually implementing your tone and walking the walk, and you're checking up on them on a spot basis to see if somebody's gone off the reservation. If you look at the pattern of companies that get into big trouble on the FCPA, many of them started with hundreds of third parties helping them get business, and they didn't even know who was out there doing that kind of work. One of the first things you do after you get in trouble is you go out and you figure out who's helping us get the business, and then you start to realize you may have 4 or 5 or 6 third parties working in one country, and you're paying each of them some percentage of your revenues. And so you can start to carve out your risk by removing some of those, and it also ends up with more money coming into the company for the successes that they have.